This is the G45 4th generation BMW X3 xDrive30 M Sport Professional. Weird naming, I must admit. It's essentially a more powerful petrol version of the X3. Or to put it in layman terms, BMW has finally woken up to compete with Mercedes because the GLC 300 has been on sale for quite some time now. But the changes here are more than just to the engine, because visually it looks different too, as this is the M Sport Pro and the 20D diesel and the 20 petrol are available in M Sport trim only. Yes, this is known as the xDrive30, not the 30i, because they no longer put the I suffix anymore, because they don't want you to get confused with the electric models, because the electric version of this car is known as the iX3. Well, we all know M Sport, but what does Pro add here? Red finish on the brake calipers and bigger 20-inch alloys instead of 19 inches. The tires are bigger too, with the fronts being 10 mm wider at 255/45 and the rears being 40 mm wider at 285/40. Yes, this car gets a staggered tire setup now. And of course, there is the X330 badging on the boot. But none of these changes have made the X3 look less weird. But step inside and the weirdness has reduced to a certain extent, with the dashboard now getting recycled vegan leather instead of knitted fabric made of recycled polyester, and that itself makes a huge difference to the cabin, as it doesn't look cheap anymore. The other change to the cabin are the seat belts, which get the M colors, and that's it. The rest of the car remains the same in terms of equipment, which means you get illumination around the grille, M Sport logo projection from the outside rear view mirrors, rear door handles that also illuminate at night, adaptive LED headlights, AR heads-up display, vegan leather seats, welcome and goodbye animation on the curved screens, 12.3-inch instrument cluster which doesn't have good enough displays, 14.9-inch infotainment screen which is slick to use but has way too many widgets, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connectivity, 3-zone climate control air conditioning, front seat ventilation with extendable under-thigh support, powered front seats with driver seat memory, rear window sunblinds, 360-degree parking camera with 3D view and bird's eye view, 15-speaker Harman Kardon sound system with 750 watts of output, Doesn't it sound very nice? Wireless phone charger placed inside what BMW likes to call as the BMW jewelry box. What? An interior selfie camera, drive recorder which is basically an inbuilt dash cam, ability to pair a game controller, front and rear camera cleaning, powered tailgate, 15 color ambient lighting which looks fantastic due to the thick bars on which it works. It also changes colors depending on the drive mode and has a nice goodbye sequence when you turn off the car, and of course this X3 has the ability to park itself. But there are certain things I don't like. For instance, there are very few physical buttons, and although there are a slew of buttons next to the gas selector, operating the AC requires you to shuffle through multiple menus on the screen. The glass roof is fixed and doesn't open, so it's a moonroof and not a sunroof. There are some flimsy panels which are out of place on a car of this price. Plastics are hard lower down and the vent control on the doors feel plasticky and cheap to use. The front seat belts don't get the height adjustable function. The gas selector is a button and not a lever. Ouch! And there are no sequential indicators. Instead, the front indicators pulsate. And there is good amount of space at the rear because you get good amount of footroom, good amount of knee room as well. There's good legroom too. However, under-thigh support is just about average. It's not great, it's not bad either. It's adequate for someone as tall as me. I am 6 feet 2 inches in terms of height, yet I have good amount of headroom too. So yes, in terms of space, I can't really complain here, but I can complain about the seat angle because it's a bit too upright. It should have reclined a bit further. It does not recline, it's fixed here. So that's a bit of an issue, and obviously There are plenty of hard plastics here. There's a magazine holder. There's actually a tablet holder as well. This car doesn't have 3 screens, but it encourages you to get more screens in the car. Please don't do that. I'm fed up of seeing 3 screens on the dashboard and 2 screens at the rear. Rear seat entertainment can be done with your freaking phone as well. Just enjoy the journey. Anyways, the problem here is that even though we have a rear center armrest with 2 cup holders, what am I even saying? I mean to say this is actually a good thing, because honestly nobody can sit in here because of the transmission tunnel, which is too protruding, which means even though that the center passenger gets a head rest, he still can't sit in here because of this particular hump right here, which means that this car is best for 4 adults only. A 5th passenger is absolutely not welcome here, because where will he put his legs, and then his legs will go in the wrong place, and I don't want to talk NSFW stuff right now. Anyways, the door pockets are really big both at the front and rear, so in terms of storage space you're not going to be complaining about it at all in the X3. Yes, this is actually a practical car. The boot at 570 liters is decent sized, and you can fold the rear seats down in 20-40-40 format to increase luggage room even further. The spare wheel, which is 125/85/18 size, yes, it's too small. Well, it's only for emergencies, is placed right under the boot floor and not on top of it. So yes, that's also practical when compared to the previous generation of the X3. But since the biggest change here is to the performance, let's give it the beans. Alright, it's time to start driving. Let's turn on the vehicle. There it turns on. Notice one thing, okay? When I turn on the hazards now, the ambient lighting actually blinks like that for a few seconds. That's very cool. And straight away we're going to navigate somewhere, because I want to show you the air navigation. So let's go to probably Goa today. Yeah, just random searches I'm doing at the moment. Yeah, just find me Goa. Here we go. It's calculating route and telling me how fast can we reach. Come on, make it quick, make it quick. 10 hours, what's wrong? That's a long journey. Air conditioning off straight away, and I come into my modes and I come into sport. Here I need to configure something, which is obviously the driving dynamics, because I'm going to come into sport plus, because only then the launch control of this car will work. Here we are, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, into drive mode, into sport mode for the gearbox, hazard lights off, revving the motor, launch control active, and off we go. That's 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 6.48 seconds, which is actually quite amazing, because there was a slight upslope by around 2.5%. That's quite a upslope actually, and BMW's claim is much faster than this. But first let's talk what's changed here, because the big difference here is obviously the performance of the vehicle. For starters, the same 2-liter 4-cylinder petrol engine has been retained, known as the B48, but it has been given a nice boost here, because power has increased from 190 horsepower to 258 horsepower. That's a 68 horsepower increase. Meanwhile, the torque has increased from 310 Newton meters to 400 Newton meters. That's a 90 Newton meter increase. The result is this car goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour 1.5 seconds faster than the xDrive30. That's a lot of improvement in performance. I don't even know why the xDrive30 exists. It simply shouldn't, because performance is quite lackluster for the price. I don't know why BMW is offering us less performance in their lower SUVs or crossovers or whatever you want to call it. So in terms of performance, this is really nice, because you get this nice surge here. Performance is supremely strong. Firstly, the engine is very smooth, is extremely refined. You can't hear a thing at all. That's the level of refinement and smoothness we have here. And once you push it past the mid-range, it becomes very vocal, upshifting it around 6,800 RPM, which gives it a very high sort of red line. So low end is quite good because turbo lag is well contained, mid range is very nice, and the top end is absolutely amazing here. Feels really punchy in the top end, pushes really hard and fast, and look at this AR navigation, superb. I love it. So in terms of performance, you will not complain now at least, but I just say the diesel is better. Even though the diesel is slower by 1.4 seconds, the diesel has 197 horsepower, so it's like 61 horsepower less when compared to this, but the exact same 400 Newton meters of torque. But all the 3 cars, or the 3 engines, have the same top speed, which happens to be 215 kilometers per hour, because I think electronically limited to that top speed. Around the corners, you can feel that body roll is very well contained. It feels so nice to drive this car. and because it has adaptive dampers, obviously the damping is better in sport for sportier driving. Meanwhile, you can change the damping to comfort when you're driving it sedately, so all that can be done as well. So ride comfort is actually quite nice here, especially when compared to the older X3, the 3rd generation model, which had run flat tires. This has regular tubeless tires, so obviously there is a bit more flexibility in the tires, so it's able to absorb better. And I don't know why trucks are loving this car, they're always so close to it. So in terms of performance, well, it's great, and the ride comfort is also quite nice. Only thing is, it is still on the stiffer side in spite of being softened, and then you can feel that stiffness at lower speeds. As you speed up, the ride definitely becomes a lot better. But that said, I have to tell you that the problem here is that compared to the GLC, the ride isn't that great. That stiffness can be felt at lower speeds, and that's something just robs away the comfort. So they have softened it, but it's still on the stiffer side, and adaptive damping obviously helps to a large extent here. The steering is so amazing, so direct, weighs up beautifully well, and has a lot of feel and feedback too. BMW continues to be BMW in the steering wheel department, making amazing steering wheels which communicate with you fantastically well. So ride is okay, I mean, it's better than before, but here, because of the lower profile tires, because of the bigger wheels, obviously the ride isn't as good as the xDrive30. Yeah, that is a bit of a problem here, that it just doesn't have the same cushion which smaller size tires have, and that's one benefit of not having bigger wheels on Indian roads, because Indian roads don't support big wheels. Simply they don't. Yeah, it's just out of place here having bigger wheels. Anyways, coming to the architecture, it's the cluster architecture. It has got all-wheel drive, but it's a rear bias power delivery with 50-50 weight distribution, and all that works its magic by giving this car phenomenal driving capability. In fact, the engine is pushed more towards the cabin, so it's far back and having empty space at the nose, so the car is not nose heavy, and then you have to strut braces and all, just BMW things. So that's actually quite good. I love how this car performs, because it feels so punchy to drive. And then you have got multiple drive modes. So right now I am in sport drive mode. Okay, there's personal, there's efficient, but usually there's relaxed and expressive as well. I don't know where those have disappeared. And in terms of what all you can alter a lot of things. Yeah, I just activate and let me get into the individual settings. So drivetrain can be comfort, sport or sport plus. The driving dynamics can be sport, sport plus or DSC off. So I'm just going to put DSC off at the moment. And then steering, you can have comfort and sport. Obviously I put it in sport. And damping, you can have comfort and sport as well, because ride quality obviously matters a lot. So I'm just going to make slight change here to the cluster mode, because I can. We're just going to put the G-force meter, but it's not going to work because it needs to navigate me now. So it's going to keep telling me where I'm going or where am I heading. And then obviously in sport it is this particular display. Otherwise, depending on the drive mode, it changes the cluster mode here as well. So in terms of the weight of the car, obviously it's heavier, and that's the reason, even though it goes from 0 to 100 km per hour in a claimed 6.3 seconds, it's half a second slower when compared to the 330 Li, even though that is a long wheelbase and that's also a heavy car. But this one just cannot cheat aerodynamics because of the height, the weight and all those things. And I thought I'm just going to enjoy the dynamics of this car around this corner. But unfortunately, that Creta guy fails to honk the truck driver to make him go faster still. Just doesn't happen. So let me do the honors. Well, the horn is really nice. I love it. Let's do the wiper test as well. Notice how the spray actually is coming out from the wipers. Those nozzles are embedded inside the wipers. In fact, the rear wiper is also very effective here. So let's quickly come to a halt right there. And I am straight away. Okay, the gearbox is behaving very aggressive. So we're just going to reset this. And now I'm going to change the drive mode, because I've come into my mode of traction control off. We'll do one launch with the traction control off as well. Why not? Like, if we can try and get the best performance out of this car, why shouldn't we try? Turn off the hazard lights and time to see how fast it accelerates from 0 to 100 km per hour. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor. Where is the launcher? No, there's no launch control in this mode, and off we go. It upshifts so fast you don't realize only. The shift just happens seamlessly here. So 8-speed torque converter automatic gearbox from ZF, fantastic, smooth, which shifts quite fast as well for a torque converter. 0 to 100 km per hour in 6.14 seconds. Yes, we beat BMW's timing. That's absolutely crazy. In fact, it can go faster still because there was an upslope of 1.3%. So on a flat road, expect this car to be even faster still. Now I obviously have got manual control here, so I can shift gears using the paddles, but does it hold on to a gear? Yeah, it does. Almost 7,000 RPM. That's fantastic. Here we'll upshift. By the way, if I keep this paddle pressed, I come into boost mode. 10-second boost here. So it's got a 48-volt mild hybrid system, which actually gives it an 11 horsepower boost, and I think 200 Newton meters of additional boost also happens. Now in terms of efficiency, 14.61 kilometers per liter is the claimed fuel efficiency from this car, but in the real world expect around 7 to 8 kilometers per liter. Nothing better, because obviously such cars end up drinking a lot of fuel because they are petrol and they are heavy as well. Now this car is based on the 3 Series. It's the SUV version of the 3 Series. It's not as sharp when compared to the older generation model, but still it is very much fun. It's stiffer when compared to the GLC, handles much better than the GLC, and the ride is also quite improved now, so you can't really write it off. It's very, very, very impressive. The GLC is still available with the coupe version, but the X4 has been discontinued. I don't know why. Mercedes is selling it, which means that there's definitely demand for the coupe version, but I think the BMW thinks, we'll just make an XM instead, which nobody wants anyways. Now in China there's a long wheelbase version of this car known as the G48, codename is the G48 long wheelbase version of this car, the X3. I thought the car will slide. No, it did not slide. Yeah, it will not upshift unless until I decided to. Gives me complete manual control of things. I really like that. Those rumblers, you can feel the bit of stiffness which is there. In terms of braking performance, well, obviously it's a BMW, so it stops with a lot of surety. Yeah, super brakes. Now quickly, I am going to come into my modes and I am going to change the traction control setting, because we want to turn on the launch control system. So here we go, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, not yet, hazard lights off, and I'm going to launch it there, so that let's see how fast it goes. Now I need to come into sport drive mode, because in manual obviously it will not upshift, thereby making me take the responsibility of shifting, which I may not be able to live up to because of how fast this gearbox shifts on its own. Left foot on the brake, reset this, right foot on the accelerator, hazard lights off, launch control active, and off we go. Oh, look at the way the tacho is moving, and 0 to 100 kilometers per hour comes up in 6 seconds. Can we beat the timing of sub 6 seconds? I shall try. Now this is obviously a downslope, so probably there's a high chance we'll be able to beat that timing. So left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, hazard lights off, launch control, and off we go. Oh, it tells me in the heads-up display as well, launch control active. That's fantastic, and that's 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 6.4 seconds. Yeah, slope doesn't really work. Gravity does not work on this car. So straight away, I'm going to change the drive mode. I'm going to come into efficient, and you can see the cluster mode changed there. I don't like these cluster modes. Yeah, they're just so freaking stupid. I mean, the old ones were so nice, the traditional BMW dials. I don't know who came up with this. It just doesn't feel right to me. Now, obviously, when you're driving in efficiency, performance dulls quite a bit. But a person who buys a BMW doesn't really care about kitna deti hai, but still people actually put it on efficiency and drive. Like me, I put it on efficiency right now. I don't know why. Yeah, the only thing is that in comfort mode now, you can feel the big difference in terms of ride comfort. Ride quality definitely improves, and around the corner, oh my goodness, yeah, it feels so sharp and pointy. It's superb to drive. It's absolutely thrilling to drive. This car feels less of an SUV and more of a jacked up sedan of sorts in the way it drives. It's such a joy, and that's the reason joy is definitely BMW. So you're just going to change the my modes and come to personal here. It has got ADAS. Obviously, it has been so well tuned now, it does not intervene at all. It's very nicely calibrated. So there's forward collision warning, there's automatic emergency braking, lane keep assist. All those features are obviously there in this car, and ADAS simply works phenomenally well here. I really like it. And there is telling me there's an Ertiga, but it shows a BMW. What? Yeah, it's an Ertiga, not a BMW. I'll tell you the connection. So, there it's telling me the forward collision warning. So the connection is simple. Toyota has an affair with Suzuki, obviously, and they make rebadged Suzuki cars, or they sell rebadged Suzuki cars, and vice versa as well. BMW also has a relationship with Toyota. You see, A equals B equals C, or A intersection B, whatever. You get the gist, right? I'm talking about the Supra and the Z4, obviously. So as I see it, performance here is phenomenal. I just wish that we get a more powerful version of the X3. A 40i is something we need, because the last generation model had a 40i. So what's stopping them from getting it right now again? Genuinely, I don't understand the logic of why BMW would offer the xDrive30 when Mercedes launched the GLC first, but offered the high GLC 300 state of tune and not the GLC 200 state of tune. I don't know why BMW like, no, you know what, we should offer less power and torque and then later correct our mistakes. Just doesn't make any sense, and I'm going to launch it one more time to see if I can make this car go any faster still. So the same thing, we are going to have launch control on there showing me the bike there. That's actually a scooter, not very accurate. And we are going to stop here, hazard lights on. First things first, let me come into the drive settings and I'm going to make some changes. Oh my goodness, it has got fake sounds, iconic sounds. Yeah, there are fake sounds. The problem is stop start system, you have to activate, deactivate from the screen. You don't have a button here, which is very cumbersome and stupid, I feel, because I want to turn it off all the time and unfortunately I can't find it only. So they're small. I'm just going through a lot of settings here. And I told you, the widgets are like really very confusing. You come into live vehicle, we come to adaptive content, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator. We reset this obviously, and here, launch control, and off we go. That's 0 to 100 km per hour in 5.92 seconds. I told you this can do sub 6 seconds from 0 to 100 km per hour. Fantastic. The X3 xDrive30 shouldn't have been launched in the first place. This is what the petrol X3 should have been since day one, and right now BMW should have been launching the X340i. While the boost in performance is absolutely welcome, the boost in price isn't, because for rupees 90 lakhs on or Mumbai, you're better off getting the X3 diesel or the Mercedes GLC, which is not only priced lower but is a more attractive and desirable car. However, you can get a BMW with crazy discounts these days, which make this X3 a value for money purchase, provided you know how to bargain hard. And on that discovery, it's time to end. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, that's a like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Bye bye.